Now, Hawai'i Football Weekly on ESPNHonolulu.com and the Sideline Hawaii app. Here's Hunter Hughes and Mark Veneri.
Welcome to Hawai'i Football Weekly, another edition, another episode. We are getting closer to the end of season. The University of Hawaii football team and our end of season, for that matter, with Hawai'i Football Weekly. We'll have one more episode next week, wrapping things up. Mark Veneri along with Hunter Hughes. Hunter, not the outcome that we expected, the outcome that we wanted, but the University of Hawaii dropping to 3-4 on the year, falling to San Jose State last week. I want to get your thoughts, Hunter. I'll get to some of the things that I want to discuss here tonight, but let's get your initial thoughts of the game against San Jose State.
You know, first and foremost, we're looking at probably the strongest San Jose State team we've seen in a very long time. They're coming in here undefeated, and sure, you know, they had some obstacles. They were off for 2 weeks, not playing games because of COVID. Things are happening over in their region of California that are outside their control. But really, they're an undefeated Mountain West team fighting for a bid to our Mountain West championship game. And they came in, they were hungry, man. And I think Hawaii did what they could. But at the same time, man, like, it just shows that we're not ready this year. Like, we've had some great moments, you know, especially coming off of that win against Nevada, just fantastic showing from our boys. But it's just further showing that it's not really in the stars for us in 2020.
Well, I think there's a lot to look at, Hunter. I think offensively and also on the defensive side as well. I think this is a year in which the expectations were curbed for the most part. But at the same time, there was expectations that were really, really high. I think all of us had the expectation that this team could be a really good football team. And so far, at least in 2020, the expectations have not at least met the criteria. And for me, personally, Hunter, I just see a team still searching for their identity. And when you're in Game 7, and put aside COVID, put aside everything else, Hunter, you put all the factors away and you just focus strictly on football. I have not seen an identity with this team in Game 7. And I think, yes, it's a new regime. Yes, it's a new coaching staff. Some players getting used to some of the things that they have to do offensively and defensively. But for the most part, continuity, consistency have not been the storyline for this football team this season.
I couldn't agree anymore. And I want to be positive. I want to be positive, Mark, because you and I have been on the hype train, I feel, since week 2, whenever we started this. And no one loves Hawaii football more than us. It's been a crazy year. But, man, Saturday was a bummer from every side of the football. I mean, anytime that your quarterback is the leading rusher with 36 yards, not a good day.
And I'll take that and let me take that a step further, Hunter. I didn't mean to cut you off. Check this out. Good. Chevin Cordero is our leading rusher for the season.
You're right.
For the season. Chevin Cordero is our leading rusher. So, I mean, I hear you, man. You know, staying positive is something that we always do, but it's tough. It is tough.
I'm running out of things to kind of look optimistically about. I mean, the one overlying fact, Mark, and we've talked about this so many times this year, is that this year is a free year. We got to keep remembering that. This is a free year. Guys are not being charged with eligibility this year. Really an unprecedented year for many reasons. But, you know, if we could look to anything, if there was ever a time for a rebuilding year, perhaps we would burn a rebuilding year this year, as it doesn't cost us eligibility. But even so, you know, a game like that has implications moving forward, especially with just conference play. I mean, I don't know if you saw that tweet from San Jose whenever they
Don't get me started
leaving.
on that.
Oh,
Don't get me started on. Oh
goodness.
my goodness.
For those of you at home that don't know about this, San Jose's official team Twitter account tweeted after their win against us, "You can't spell Honolulu without the L's."
Oh man, it leaves me. Go ahead, Hunter. Go ahead, take it. Take it away, my friend.
For those of us that have played football and played football in the Mountain West, San Jose has been next to irrelevant for really the existence of the Mountain West program. They have been bottom of the barrel. You have them circled on your schedule because you are going to beat the piss out of them. You know it. They know it. It's just like, act like you've been there before, you guys. Like, good. You've got a good team. Things are going your way. Show a little class. Especially when we went out of our way to welcome you over here when we couldn't play at your home field. We didn't have to do that. We could have gone to a neutral site, which we were talking about going to Vegas. We were exploring some alternative options. We welcomed you over here. And yeah, that's football. I understand you're excited for the win. Now, I'm telling you, man, every single guy on our roster has that game circled for next year. We cannot wait to get it strapped up against them again. I know that.
That is a big circle. When I saw that tweet, I was like, you got to be kidding me. I can't even remember the last time that San Jose State was even close or even relevant in the Mountain West Conference, and even going back to the WAC.
Football. They almost cut football. What was that? 4 years ago, they were having trouble with their athletic director, and they were on the brink of canceling football. San Jose State, and it might have been a media stunt, but I remember seeing that. So it's just like, come on, you guys, really? You're not our rival. Don't act like you are because of this Dick Tomey trophy, which has been around all of 2 years, which I think is amazing. They're not our rival, and to be honest, they're not equal to us. We're better. We're much better.
And this, I mean, it's frustrating. And here's the thing that stands out. Talking about
bowl
better.
Wins have they won, Mark? How many bowl wins have they won in the last recent history? I think it's a goose egg.
Here, I'll even put it even more relevant to it. Since 1939, the San Jose State Spartans were not even undefeated since 1939 in this far in the season. So you talk about relevance in a program of history. But if you go back, to the game, you talk about, straightforward here, Hunter. We got punched in the mouth, 21-0. You can't fall down 21-0. We had over 150 yards of rushing in the first half. San Jose State, who can throw the football, decided, well, you know what? I'm not going to throw it. I'm going to run it down your throats until you can stop it. And I don't even want to talk about players in this case in this first segment. I just want to talk more about what are we doing? What can we do moving forward? Because there's things that I look at and I want to at least discuss, Hunter, for me personally. And I thought about this. And starting with the offensive side for me, I remember back in the press conference, and it's no knock. I think Todd Graham has a good recipe for success. I really do. I definitely, and I'm a man who remembers.
Strong character guy.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember things that are said. Like, I don't forget it. And I was told in a press conference to the state, not just us, that we were going to air out the football. We were going to throw it. We were going to play to Chevan Cordero's strengths. And I have not seen that 7 games into the season. So the question I asked, and look, you've been a part of this program for some time. For me, I always thought about this, and I mentioned this on the Sports Fix on Monday.
Yeah.
Chevan Cordero has played the run and shoot his whole life. And I even go back to a time where Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian came down here to learn the run and shoot from Ronnie Lee, Cal Lee, June Jones, to understand what Tua Tagovailoa was doing because they were Alabama's coordinators. So I take it even a step further. If we knew that Chevan Cordero's strengths were in the passing game, why mold the wheel? Why mold everything else? Why change everything to have him one check and run, two check, maybe 1-2 check and run? It goes back to consistency for me, and I'm just trying to understand it. So go ahead, take the floor. I just wanted to get your thoughts on this, Hunter.
If you look at the stats, Chevan did have 42 attempts this game. I think that might be a season high for him. We're usually in the 25 to 32 range, so that's 10 more attempts right there. But I haven't seen that from our team really a whole lot, especially compared to what we were doing the last 2 seasons under the run and shoot offense with Coach Rollo and Coach Stutzman. It felt like we were taking shots left and right. There are some throws, but our offense looks stagnant to say the least. And there's something to kind of that lineage of why St. Louis quarterbacks are revered and respected. I mean, Coach Vinny Passis, there's a reason he gets invited to New Orleans Saints training camp every year to work with the quarterbacks. They have figured out something over there, and Chevan has been groomed in that environment. I don't know if that was.
And the reason why I ask you, Hunter, is because I mean, both of us understand offense and we watch it and we understand it and we look at it. I just see 1-2 check. I got to run it. There's no, I guess in the route, there's more what we like to call, and I think you know this too, is a true. When you have a true route, is that they're running the route with no option read. Right. We know the run and shoot is based off of reads. And there's no knock on a system. I mean, every system is different, and it takes a quarterback to mold into the system. But when you don't have those option routes, you're talking about a quarterback who's never played in this offense, and we're trying to mold him to something. Maybe he's not quite what he is in that offense. We always have to – I mean, Chevan's our guy. We know that. But also just understanding his strengths.
I don't know. That might be something interesting to talk about, Mark. When we talk about the DNA and identities of teams, even when, say, a team like Georgia Tech gets a new coach, it's expected that they're going to run the triple option. Like, Georgia Tech is a veer triple option team. They always have been. Or Air Force, for instance. Air Force is another one. They always run that triple option kind of veer package against stuff. And no matter who's coaching, that's what they run. Why can't Hawaii be the run and shoot school? You come to Hawaii as a coach, you learn the run and shoot, right? Like, I don't know. Like, that is the DNA of our team. At least, it hasn't always been. I'll say that. We used to run the veer back in the 90s and the 80s. But with the kind of turn of the century where we've taken passing the ball, mainly under June Jones and Miles Davis, sorry. That's in the DNA of our team. And I mean, Coach Chow tried to bring a pro style to us after 4 prolific years under Coach Mack, with Moniz and Salas.
And Rollo as the offensive coordinator.
And Rollo as the OC. I mean, unbelievable passing numbers. Moniz was in the Heisman conversation. It's proven. I don't understand. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I haven't met Coach Graham yet. I'm wanting to be careful, before I meet him. Whenever I'm talking on the radio. But he hasn't won anything, right? Not that I am putting him down or anything, but we haven't won a national championship or anything in his coaching history. Why not change it up a little bit? That's what this kid's always known how to do. That's what he was recruited to do, and that's what he's been winning under, in these last couple of years. This last game of the season, why not give it a shot? say, hey,
and
let's
and
get that
that's
play.
and that's and
Yeah.
that's the point, Hunter. That is the point. You just nailed the number one point that I was going to make. It is a free year.
Free
Like
year.
why
it.
not? Why not try it out? Understand that these guys know what's going on, and that's the thing for me. Even on the defensive side, even shifting to the defensive side, Hunter. I mean, we're playing that three front, that war dog defense. It seems
Yeah.
it is definitely true that our defense is a second half team. We always win the second half. We figure it out,
Yep.
but we put
True.
ourselves in a big hole. I mean, if you look at every game so far, besides the Nevada game, we were trailing at half and have won the second half except for Wyoming. That is the only game that we have lost in the second half. So we are a second half team. We understand that the adjustments made. There's no quit in our team. No, we get that. But, you have you're playing a 30 front, and you have Panay Pavi'i standing up, not in his true position. Obviously, Jono Laulu was banged up. Another thing I see on the defensive side, where's Derek Thomas, who was one of our best pass rushers last season, gets a first first crack at defense against San Jose State and causes havoc in the backfield. So just the rotation. I'm not sure, and I don't want to put hypotheticals out there. I'm not Coach Graham, and of course, I respect everything that's going on. But for me, Hunter, I think understanding a little bit more on rotating fronts, rotating players. I'd like to see a little bit of more of a rotation. Given that we do have a free year, get some guys some look, get some guys some playing time.
I know we were just talking about defense, but to jump back to the offensive side of the football, if we're going to be a run and gun offense, which is what he was talking about, the first half of that scheme is run, and we're not running the ball well at all. At all. If our quarterback is our leading rusher and he's not a Michael Vick or a Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, dual threat guy that can shake and bake. I mean, Chevin's done great. I got to tip my cap to him. He's played with an amazing amount of heart. Really made a lot out of chop suey, to be honest. We're not running the ball, so let's find a way to get it done in the air. Let's lean on some guys that have kind of shown that they can be versatile no matter where they're at. People like Turner. I'd like to see Stovall involved a little bit more. Even Rico Busi, over this past weekend, kind of had a breakout game. We got nothing to lose. And I think this would be a great time to sort of change it up, because I think this game against UNLV is a must win. Don't you, Mark?
Oh, yes. It is an absolute must-win football game. And at the end of the day, before we take our time out, Hunter, I want to say this. This team, regardless of what has happened and their record at 3-4, if there's one thing, University of Hawaii fans, that you can take away from this team this season, is one, this team is going to fight for you. They will fight for the islands. They will fight for that H on the side of their helmet. They will fight for that Hawaii across their chest. That I cannot take away from them. I will never take that away from them. They have given us the effort. And you know what, Hunter? Hats off, props to them, because our boys, no matter what, have come out and fought every single game.
100%. 100%. And that's also, I say everything that we've just talked about with a little bit of hesitation in my spirit, just because it's easy to critique when we're not there. It's easy to say we should have done this, we should have done that. Our guys have played with so much effort and so much heart, and let's not forget they elected to play when so many other people have opted out of this year. So it just shows what kind of players that we have playing for us. It makes me proud to be an alum and part of that Warrior Ohana. As fans at home, I hope that even despite that 3-4 record, you would be proud of the boys, because they deserve it. They absolutely do.
The boys deserve it. They fall to 3-4. We'll talk about our player of the week, Mark Vineri with Hunter Hughes, another edition of Hawai'i Football Weekly. Hawaii falling to San Jose State, dropping their record to 3-4. UNLV coming up next for the last game of an 8-game Mountain West Conference schedule. Hunter, our player of the week, and we've been kind of waiting for him to kind of have that game and really just make his presence felt. He was on the Blitnikoff watch list as well. That's Rico Bussey, our player of the game, 8 catches, 69 yards, and a touchdown. And I'll tell you what, if there's one guy that I was really happy to see finally have that game and make a difference, it definitely was Rico Bussey.
Absolutely. I think we got him kind of in a steal. Other than maybe Calvin Turner might be the recruiting win of this past offseason for this coaching staff. Getting him from North Texas, right? I believe that was a school he came from or something like that. But anywhere, and he'll come down with it. And I mean, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, he proved just that. I mean, he was jumping for balls, kind of sacrificing his body, played with a lot of courage. I'm really thankful that he's a Rainbow Warrior, man, and he played really well.
I know. You know what? I kind of just go back on, and it's a terrible thing to think about it, but I'm always like, I kind of go back on it. But I think about Rico Bussey in the run and shoot. That's kind of where I vision some of the things, especially if we had him last year in the run and shoot per se. You know, you have him at the outside. You have Jared Smart. You have Sharsh. You have JoJo Ward. You have Cedric Bird. I mean, you think about hypotheticals.
Yeah.
Hey, hypotheticals are something, but I think about it. But it'd be nice to. We talked about him getting the rock a little bit more in this game. You see when he has the opportunities and the balls thrown his way, he does a great job. Making things happen. And definitely it's, you kind of hope that he does stick around, given, this year, if there's transfer protocols, I don't know the details, but you definitely hope this receiving corps stays. With Rico Bussey, Jared Smart, you have Stovall, you have Calvin Turner. There's some guys, there's some dudes that I think, along with Rico Bussey, just complements this offense really, really well.
Yeah, and, I know this is just one facet of his game, but just having not only a big guy, but a strong guy. You can tell how strong he is with the way that he runs and how, sure-handed he is. Getting down to the red zone, whenever you can have kind of a size mismatch on maybe a smaller DB and either throw a jump ball or a back shoulder to a guy like that knows how to run those routes. That is just invaluable from an offensive perspective. Because, I mean, Chevin doesn't have to stay in the pocket very long for that play to develop. It's literally just 2 steps. You throw it up and let him jump up and make a play. That's literally what Nevada was doing to us 2 weeks ago with their big guy on the outside. It's what you have to do when you have a size mismatch like that. You've got to capitalize, and you're exactly right. The last couple of years we did fantastic, but other than Jared Smart, who I think is maybe 6'2", maybe 6'3", the majority of our run and shoot guys were shorter guys and getting those numbers. Imagine what we had with a guy like Rico Bussey.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot like a guy that just knows how to create space. He knows where the openings are. And there's time, granted, you see some of the offense, and it's not, once again, critique is critical, but we are, definitely be nice.
That's right.
But for me, I do see him open. I really do see him open at times. He creates space. He knows how to run routes and runs crisp routes. I think at times, with Chevin's, inability, and it's not to his fault, being scrambling outside the pocket under pressure, a lot. Sometimes you're just looking for that first check down. You're looking for that first read. And if it's not there, you're looking to scramble out. So, I've noticed, and hey, Rico Bus, if you listen to our show, hey, my brother, I have seen you get open. And I know as a receiver, sometimes that can get frustrating, but I also see the way that he runs routes, the way he carries himself on the field. And it was great to see him have a good game this week.
Yeah, I just hope that, he doesn't look at his stats for this year and get discouraged. Coming in here with all this hype, hoping to kind of pad maybe those stats coming here. See it as a step up. You were at a lower end. I think North Texas is a D1.
Div 1, yeah.
D1 AA. They are D1. But I think Hawaii is definitely a step up for him, and it might be a long way from home, but I think this is going to be the place that you're going to see the most amount of looks. I mean, I know that's what I tell receivers whenever I talk to them, and they're considering coming to Hawaii. And I hope that Coach Graham can honor this with their play calling. I tell them that you're never going to get more passes thrown to you than if you came to Hawaii. And so that's been in our DNA. Rolo, again, back to the previous regime, but Rolo said, if you're a receiver, why would you want to play anywhere else? And I completely agree with that. I think that is our advantage as a school and as a team. So someone like Rico Bussey, a big athletic wide receiver like that, invaluable skills. I'm hoping that this is a foresight of what's to come for him.
Rico Bussey, our player of the week, 8 catches, 69 yards, and 1 touchdown. Second to the last episode. Next week, we'll have another edition of Hawai'i Football Weekly, recapping the season. Of course, a shortened season with an 8-game schedule in the Mountain West Conference. Hawaii falling to San Jose State last week. And we look ahead to UNLV, Hunter Hughes in the program. And I know there's some big games in our program. But under this regime, and I know it's early, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say it. This is a must-win game. UNLV is 0-5 coming into this game. But you talk about momentum, you talk about everything heading into next season. UNLV is a must-win game for this program.
I think I'm right there with you, Mark. We've got a losing record right now. The winning record is out of the picture. Mountain West Championship out of the picture. Most likely a bowl appearance is out of the picture too. We need a win right now to even the slate at 500. In some ways, I think our lone highlight of the year was that win against Nevada. But a loss to UNLV could very well be the low point of the year for us. It would have been a tall task to beat 2 undefeated teams right back to back on each other. But we cannot lose to a poor, and I mean poor, UNLV team. We need to handle them this Saturday.
And I'll even take it a step further, Hunter. I'm not just handle them, but, Hawaii comes in as 20-point favorites. This game, and I said this on the Sports Fix too as well, this game cannot be close. I even think in a close game, Hunter, I think I would be disappointed. I think this game needs to be a statement game. It needs to set the tone for next season. Put aside stats, put aside record, put aside everything. And you come out and say, guys, this is our bowl game. This is our must-win game. We need this momentum to carry into the next season. Because I can tell you what, Hunter, if this game is close, I'll be very disappointed. I'm just going to put it out there and just say I'd be disappointed.
No, I know what you're saying. I'd be interested to know what the coaches are saying to our guys this week, because hardly ever are we favorited in a game. For whatever reason, Vegas likes to put us as the underdog, but even against their home team, UNLV, they are putting us as the favorites to win this game. And one thing I noticed just in my time through the program, whenever we were beating teams and beating them well, I mean, I think my junior year, we were beating Nevada by like 30 points or whatever. We seemed to let off the gas pedal, and we let them back in that game when it should have been a blowout. I mean, we could have put 60 on them without even trying. I want us to not let our foot off the gas pedal this weekend. And again, what have we been saying all year, Mark? We got to get off to an early lead. We got to hold that lead and then come back in the second half because we're a second half team. That's the key to our success right now. I would love for us to beat the absolute crap out of these guys. I feel like we deserve to win and win soundly. And I think it's well within our power. We've seen shades of it. We've seen moments of greatness. Why can't it be one last statement to our team, to our fan base, to our state that we mean business and we're going to be ready next year? Let's get it done this weekend.
And then I'll take it even a step further. You talk about recruiting heading into next year. You talk about guys, whether they're going to stay or if there's declaration for the NFL. I mean, I know that's a far-fetched reach, but for guys who would stay, guys who believe in this program, believe in what you're doing, these guys have fought for us. Like we said in our first segment, Hunter, these guys have fought for us throughout the whole year. And that is something that we will never take away from this football team. If there's one thing that an adjective to describe this 2020 football team is fight. They fight. And they constantly do it. And you can't take that away from them. But there has to be an understanding heading into this game that, guys, we need to take care of business immediately. We cannot play around in this game. We cannot take them lightly. We have to pedal to the metal from snap 1 to snap 80, whatever it may be. Everything counts in this game. I can't tell you another time where I felt where University of Hawaii football's program was in a state of where, all right, where were you going to go next? I think the last moment we had that is maybe in the Norm Chow era, where is this program going to go next? I kind of feel like, regardless of it being year one, that this is the time right now in this football game. Where are we going to go next?
Yeah, and I think morale of the team is something that is really needing to be nurtured right now. If you're a coach on this team, I would be looking at that more than any other variable going into this weekend and really the off season after this week. Is how do we keep morale so that these guys that we believe in want to still be a part of this team? And we've seen it a couple times. I think after the San Diego State game, we had two guys elect to transfer right after that loss. And again, you're always going to get some of that, but there's definitely, even for people like us who aren't around the team right now, with media not being allowed around the team, it just feels like there's a little bit of unrest, and we could do a lot to kind of fix that, at least temporarily, with a solid win this Saturday.
And I even think this, Hunter, I think this is an audition. I think you use this game as an audition. And the reason I say audition is we've seen, I don't want to say a lack of rotation, but we haven't seen a whole lot of rotation. I want to see guys like Kawali Nishigai in the game. I want to see guys like Lincoln Victor, who we have not seen all season. We haven't seen him all season. Give some guys some opportunities to get out there and showcase their talent. Use it as an addition to say, who is going to be the next guy? Who's going to be the next dude that stands tall, stands firm, and says, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to raise my hand and be that guy. That's some of the things that I am looking for in this game particularly. And I think if we can do that, I think it will show. I guess it'll show a lot of at least steam for next season. It'll show me that we are preparing for something more, something great, and because I will tell you, I feel a little uneasy. I feel a little at unrest that the team that I love dearly, like put aside COVID again, but I'm like, okay, well, what's next? Where are we gonna go with this program?
Yeah, and when you're a player, when you're when you're irrelevant. When you're irrelevant as a player. When you're irrelevant as a team. And whenever that happens, it's like a cancer in the locker room. It just spreads from one guy to the next. Your motivation goes out the window. Your care. These guys, in this time of their life, they believe they were put on earth to play football. And when you are not, it's such a fascinating thing, the difference between winning and losing. But when you don't feel like you are contributing or producing at the level that really you've been putting all this work into, it just stinks. It stinks so bad. So, with how hard our guys have fought this year, they deserve to end the year on a high note. Even if it's not the highest of notes, we deserve to end on a high note for how hard they have fought, because they absolutely believe this. And Mark, I'd like to pose this to you. Sure, this is just Coach Graham's first year. Are you thinking that a loss here? Let's take it a step further. We get blown out by UNLV. Do you think Coach Graham could potentially be on the hot seat?
It's tough to say because with contractual obligations, and obviously money is very tight at the moment, in our state too, for that matter. And with contractual obligations, yes, there's some logistics obviously that kind of hinder that. I think the fan base will be very, very uneasy, very, very at unrest. And I think for me, hot seat might be the word. Do I think his job is in jeopardy? No. But I also think there's going to be some question marks and eyebrows raised that will lead me to believe that things need to change quickly. And this is all hypothetical, right? Yep. I mean, I'm hoping for the best, but if we need to always prepare for the worst, like we talk about, and I guess you could say it's the same for this week, Hunter, is what's next. If we lose, then it's like, oh no, like what's next? What do you need to change to make it better? If we win and we win soundly, I think, maybe we can take a step back and say, okay, let's see a little bit more. If it's a close game, I think there's going to be some uneasiness. I think there's been uneasiness this whole season. I think there's just been a lot of question marks this whole season. You've played in the system. You've played, Hunter. I know that there's some guys maybe that are thinking, and just in the media world and just from just talking with people, it's like, okay, all right, we've given this some time. All right, where are we going? Where are we headed?
Yeah, and I with my day job, I'm around a lot of season ticket holders on a daily basis, and these are people that are diehard, literally been season ticket holders since the 70s. The feeling is not good right now. Then again, the feeling about life in general is subpar, to say the least, I think, right now. But yeah, we need to potentially take this game with some serious implications, because it's bigger than just one game. We need to finish this year on a high note. And I'm really interested to see, with Coach Graham beginning his first real off season of recruiting, how he's going to fare with recruiting some of our local guys. And even with the scheduling with the majority of Hawaii football, high school Hawaii football happening in the spring, it will leave a lot of our coaches the opportunity to see these guys play in person, and sort of be there and build relationships. One thing that, as a player, just something that I observed, in the Chow era, that coaching staff really kind of missed out on the opportunity to build authentic relationships with a lot of local families, local kids, where I think the Rolo era took a step forward in the right direction. And if we want Hawaii football to be prolific, to be the team and the program that we know that it could be, we got to start winning the recruiting battle on our home turf. We have to. We cannot allow great talent to slip through the cracks because we are not recruiting well. We are not building the right relationships and giving these guys opportunities, because plenty of guys want to stay home and play for the H, man. Plenty of people want to do it.
And I think this, Hunter, I think patience too is going to be key in this. And it's hard because our fans are tough. I think we're tough. I think there's, we are. And patience, when you get accustomed to winning, when you lose, your patience runs thin. And that's the thing that, worries me, quite frankly. But at the end of the day, I'm going to circle back to this, Hunter. The boys have proven to all of us, and this includes you and I, has proven to all of us that they have a heart. They have the heart of a warrior. They play with pride on that field. And if you can take a step back and put, and I close my eyes thinking this, Hunter, if you can take a step back as a fan, this is my calling, rallying cry, whatever it may be. Yeah. If you take a step back, close your eyes, and realize how their effort, put aside scheme, put aside everything else. These boys give us everything that they got day in and day out, game in and game out. And I can live with that. I can live with that being a fan of University of Hawaii football. I think what maybe worries us, schemes, coaching, all the things that, of course, it's easy to sit back in a chair that we're in right now and critique, but put yourself in a position as a coach. It's difficult. We're in COVID. There's all these factors that have gone against everything in the country. So for me, I think at the end of the day, if we can look at it from a positivity standpoint, while being very strict in our critique and strict on what's next, what are we going to do next? And you blend those together, Hunter, I think you have a recipe for success moving forward.
Yeah, and I think that's a place that we can kind of jump off of. That if you do look at COVID, Hawaii didn't get any games canceled this year because of COVID. I think that has a lot to do with how Coach Graham has taken COVID-19 extremely seriously. The way that we've honored protocols, the way that we've rolled out our sort of testing program with our players. And it also speaks to you at home listening, you guys, fans of Hawaii football, taking this seriously so that Hawaii can be a safe place for our boys to play. Sure, we'd all love to be in Aloha Stadium together, doing what we always do, supporting our boys. But that is something that I don't think should be unsaid, because so many of, other places, prolific programs are, their seasons are up in jeopardy because of this pandemic. I know that's a lousy win, but at the same time, I think it's worth discussing. And I'm a little unrestful with our team in the current moment, but I think the future of Hawaii football looks great. I'm a person that believes character will win out in the end. And if there is anything that we've seen from Coach Graham and this coaching staff, is that they are a character-first coaching staff. A lot of coaching staff preach that. These guys are absolutely walking it out. And so let's walk it out against UNLV, you guys. We need a prolific start. We need to hold, and I would love for our defense to just kick UNLV right in the mouth and get it done, man, because we need a big one. We need a big one bad.
Well, let's get it right now, Hunter. Let's get our predictions before we head out. Hunter, what is your thoughts here? What do you got?
Okay, I'm going for the best offensive performance of our whole year. I'm going 40-21. Hawaii wins.
40-0 to 2-1.
40-21. Yep.
All right. I'm pretty close to you. I'm gonna go 42-17 Bows. And I think they finish this out with a bang, and I have total faith that they will finish this season out on our bang. Best offensive performance, best defensive performance, in the sense that we're flying around to the football, getting things done. We do that. I think our fan base will be pretty happy. And 4-4, COVID, all of the factors. You know, I think we can go to bed happy and have a safe and Merry Christmas too. I think that will be the key. 42-17, 40-21. Hunter, go Bows, man. Let's get it.
Go Bows.
Let's finish this on front of bang.
Guys. Come on. There's no better time than now. Don't ever be afraid to be great. This is your opportunity to be great this weekend. Well within your power. You are a much better football team than these guys. Do not lower yourself to their standards. Elevate your own and get it done this weekend. Be the champions that you fight like, that we know that you are. You guys have what it takes. Go get that W. Go Bows.
The warrior spirit lives within everybody in this program. In Hunter Hughes, myself, the fan base. Hunter, there's this warrior spirit about the people of Hawaii that really sees the best in this program. We see the best in the program. And we look forward to talking about a victory next week. But, of course, the UNLV program comes into town to take on the University of Hawaii football program. Of course, special thanks goes out to Ku'ule Agbayani for all her hard work. Of course, Josh Pacheco back in the studios, and everyone that has supported this podcast and the broadcast and the University of Hawaii football program. We appreciate you. Go Bows. Until next week, for Hunter Hughes, I'm Mark Veneri. Have a good one. You've been listening to Hawai'i Football Weekly on ESPN Honolulu.
It's Cordero headed for the end zone. Touchdown, Hawaii.
You've been listening to Hawai'i Football Weekly on ESPN Honolulu.com. Check back in every week for a new episode and catch Hawaii football all season long on ESPN Honolulu.